career journalist for the last decade and a half, a sports journalist in Jamaica. I tend to specialize in track and field primarily because it's a sport that I was involved in high school and ran through college. And I've always had an interest in track and field, so it's a sport that continues to interest me. Right now, I'm currently a content editor for sportsmax.tv, so a website that we're currently overhauling, and I'm one of the content editors there.
Okay. You have followed Haughton's career for the past umpteen years. Where would you rank Haughton's achievement in 400 meter for Jamaica?
Gregory Haughton has been one of our best 400 meter runners ever. When you look at the pantheon of athletes who represented Jamaica, from George Roden to Herb McKinley to Arthur Wink, right through to Bert Cameron, coming through the ages. But when you look at Haughton's accomplishments, 9 global medals, that meaning the World Championship or the Olympic Games, and of course Pan Am champion, CAC champion, Carifta champion. You have to look at it in that context because of the accomplishments over a long period of time, almost 2 decades. He would have to rank among the very best for Jamaica, even in terms of time. 44.57, I think, is his personal best. And you look at that time, right up to this current period, it's still one of the fastest times ever run in Jamaican history. When you look at the fact that 43.93 is our national record now. However, most Jamaican 400 meter runners in our history have never gone past 44.4, which is our national record prior to that point. So right now, in terms of accomplishments, in terms of medals won, in terms of time, Gregory Haughton has to be ranked among our very best 400 meter runners.
People sometimes say that the contribution is not a lot. In what way would you say Mr. Haughton contributed to the development of 400 meter in Jamaica?
It's quite significant. I mean, when you look at the fact that when at the peak of his career, you're winning medals against some of the best 400 meter runners in history. You're looking at Michael Johnson, Butch Reynolds, Black from the UK. There are so many world-class 400 meter runners during the era when Gregory Haughton was representing Jamaica. Everything that he did is a contribution to the Jamaican track and field environment, track and field history. So his impact on Jamaican 400 meter running has to be significant in that he was a major contributor. Even in the era when he ran, when there was a Roxburgh, Martin, Davian, Clark, Michael McDonald, he was a leader of that quartet that went to the Olympics and did so well, that went to the World Championships and did well. That he was part of that, he was a leader of that quartet that perhaps is among our very best quartets ever.
Okay. What are some of your most memorable moments in Haughton's performance?
There are 2 performances that Gregory Haughton has I will never forget. The first one was back in Gothenburg in 1995, running from lane 3 in a quality 400 meter field, where in the first part of the race, I have to admit at the time, I felt a little bit nervous because at 150, Haughton seemed to be like 5 meters behind the stagger. I wasn't thinking he was going to medal. And then he finds himself back in the race and comes through for a pretty strong 3rd. Of course, Michael Johnson being the winner in, I think, was the 2nd fastest time in history in that race. And then the second performance, which was to me even more impressive, was running from lane 8 in Sydney in 2000, running blind in again another stacked field of quality 400 meter runners, again led by Michael Johnson, and running through and only got past the last few meters of the race to finish 3rd again for Jamaica. 2 very, very outstanding performances that will live with me for a very long time. They were both very outstanding performances, primarily because of the quality of the fields that he ran against and in the lanes that he drew. People marvel at the fact that Wade Van Niekerk ran 43.03 from lane 8 in the last Olympic Games. But when you consider how difficult it is to run from lane 8, to run blind, to not know where the field is, to not be able to gauge where your race is, and to still come through and run strongly at the end to finish in Sydney for bronze medal, that was, to me, extremely outstanding.